Hello. Actually, I'm gonna try to make this video the fastest I can. It's been quite a lot since the last time I spoke on a video. I've been saying that my this is a way or a method to it's like a catharsis, it's therapeutic a lot. So I'll try to do the best I can to speak. Especially because I'm posting this video on YouTube, on Facebook for people that wants to listen to me and knows the struggle of being an Asperger's or self-diagnosed with Asperger's. Since this last few months, I haven't do anything related to autism, like just been focusing on working and trying to get my major working out. Right now, I'm trying to get a job in a refinery. I guess it's gonna be quite difficult, especially because of my limitation. I mean, I don't like to call it limitations, but for other people are limitations. And people squeeze it the most out of it. People can be really, really dirty sometimes. Well, like I said, this past few months have been time of do a lot of insights for me. I've been thinking a lot. I'm the kind of person that think a lot. Um, I've been thinking that there's two parts of human nature, of the human condition, which is emotion and thinking. I have realized that we people with Asperger's tend to be more thinkers. I guess that's in my case. I cannot generalize. I can talk for everybody else. But in my case, I feel like I'm more rational, more systemic than many other people. I think before I add. I'm not emotional at all, so that kind of have given me trouble a lot. I have heard a lot of misjudging by people saying that I'm too cold or I'm too analytical to be loved and shit like that. Well, that's just disgusting anyway. Um, like I say, I mean, when you're diagnosed with Asperger's, or one of the main keys to be diagnosed with Asperger's is the lack of empathy. The theory of mind, I guess. When I talk about empathy, I want to say that in my case, I lack of emotional empathy, but I'm very good at cognitive empathy. I can understand people's emotions. I guess I can be more like a psychologist or therapist. And that's where I'm going for school. I'm going for psychology. Um, I feel, you need to add in a certain way depending on the emotion of the person. In my case, I tend to ignore a lot of emotions, and that's one of the most difficult parts. I'm trying to be very understandable with people, and try to understand their emotions in a, I can say, analytical way, in an analytical form. But that's not enough, and you need to feel like empaths feel to be actually being to account for other empaths. I know it's kind of paradox, it's kind of contradictory, but that's how empaths are. They can be very superficial. I don't want to generalize, but most of them are quite superficial because I guess they understand another form. They understand emotions so for something I can, and I know many of us don't. Um, Right now, like I say, I've been in a lot of insights, thinking about the Asperger's condition. I'm just quite like I don't care much about empaths anymore. I mean, I have to care because I live with empaths all the time. But right now I want to focus. I mean, because I feel people with Asperger's, in my case, we tend to demonize people with neurotypicals, but in fact those are emotional bias. But the fact that many neurotypical have um, hurt us in the past. Many neurotypical have hurt us in the past, and we tend to generalize a whole population of people, and that's for me ignorance. And I know it's quite scary because when you're not that aware of the emotions and the way, sorry, neurotypicals think, You can get quite paranoid. In my case, I have social anxiety. It's very difficult for me to go on social settings. Um, I can go out with my family to camping or to a supermarket because I feel like the world's on my shoulders and it's very very difficult. Like I was saying, many of us have bias against neurotypicals. I know, in fact, I have found in my life very disgusting, horrendous people. Like there are neurotypical people with narcissism and sociopathy and those kind of stuff. People that think that we are weak and we should be, vandalized and abused. That's a really stupid way of thinking. And I feel there's a lot of compassion. I've been analyzing a lot of the relationship between empaths. I feel there is a factor which is fear. People is very fear. I mean, we're in a Donbass generation where women are feared to be loved and love, and men are feared to show their emotions, and everybody's hard and cold. I feel there is a rising in this kind of philosophies, quite like I call cynical philosophies, which people is all about self-interest. And I understand that if you study psychology, you get to know that we are in a, let's say, I can say this example, a battle, constant battle you know, of our self-centered, animalistic, selfish tendencies, and we also have a more cognitive, spiritual form. So it's a total contradiction. So I get to a point that I kind of feel some, I can say, no hate, neither compassion for neurotypicals, but I feel quite indifference because in my case I'm analyzing them all the time. I'm seeing, the flaws of the way they think. I don't want to say I'm perfect. I don't want to say aspergers. People with autism is perfect because we're not. Everybody has flaws and stuff like that. I can point out a few, like we can be really hard-headed sometimes when somebody else goes against our own convictions and thoughts. I have found this called cognitive dissonance in people. Many of us have that. So we can be quite hard-headed in that case. We can be like mules. I don't mean to, hurt anybody by these words, but I feel sometimes I have feel more, more support by some neurotypicals than people from my own community, aspies and stuff like that. And neurotypicals that are aware, neurotypicals that are balanced, and neurotypicals that are good-hearted. So I feel one of the things I have to say is for evolution of our mind, our soul is to understand our own flaws, and we gotta understand that we can be really hard-headed sometimes, especially with ourselves, neurotypicals. I know that's one of the aspects of being Asperger's, but I think that I can say when you get consciousness into this, you realize that everything can be changed. Uh, I've been reading a lot of psychoanalysis and different psychological theories. For me, the best that have worked for me the best is the rational emotive behavioral therapy by Albert Ellis. I think I named it before a couple times because I have developed like anybody else like very rational philosophies that have stand against my life, and my goals that have made me very happy. One of the things I realized is that in my case, since I have a very idealistic nature and tend to be very into this humanism philosophy and all this kind of stuff, that you can get really frustrated by the way other people act. You can get really frustrated about how society is right now. So in my case, I was getting very depressed. I still have somehow kind of depressed, and I'm into a meltdown today. Like a depressive meltdown a little bit. Um, sorry, it's not so bad like it used to be before. I think getting into self therapy and using YouTube and Facebook as a therapy method have helped me to understand that there is other people like me in this world. People that feel lonely, people that feel not understand, people that feel they're confused by their own emotions. Sometimes I feel like I don't have instincts. That's one of the main issues. That you need to be somehow a little bit animalistic. Sometimes to survive in this society, because in fact somehow we're still animals. Um, that have grown in me, like I say, a social anxiety and fear. You know, fear of relationships. I have very few friends right now. You always have to be aware of what to say and what to think in front of them. So I have like a couple friends that I know really well, and I know they are very good people, and I hope so they don't hurt me or anything. And when I talk about, I mean, I want to shift the topic. I mean, that's a problem that I have with Aspergers, is that my ideas are like too broad, and I jump into ideas really fast. But I if I do that, please let me know. I'm trying to work in that. Um, I realize that sometimes I jump really fast into ideas, and people's like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with him?" Say people say I make no sense. I hope I make sense to you. And so I wanted to talk about that. I had gone to a point where you grown pessimistic views of the world. The only kind of hope I have right now, the only faith is books. Like I read a lot of Carl Jung. I try not to read Schopenhauer because that gave me more depressed, but I read more Carl Jung and Nietzsche and those kind of existentialist kind of philosophies where they tell you that you have a degree of free will in yourself, that there's a God and there's hope and those kind of stuff. I hope I can go to a point where I can get more balance, and I know I will. Um, I know in my case that I have the gift of insight, self-understanding. Somehow that's a give and a curse at the same time. But like I say, you have been so hurt in your life that you start like thinking like a neurotypical. You start thinking like everybody is trying to hurt you and shit like that, and you're thinking like everything people just ask for self-interest. That's quite irrational too. So if somebody asks me an advice, I know that not everybody is into psychology. I know some of us are into mechanics, some of us kind of really difficult mathematical theories and shit like that. But I can say like reading psychology is very helpful. Reading Carl Jung is very helpful. Reading Albert Ellis is really helpful. Um, we need to understand that we need to change a little bit too. Some of us, like I said, we are kind of hard-headed sometimes, and we tend to be, you know, we think we're perfect sometimes. Like, no, we don't need to change. The words are the ones that need to change. I think we need to find a balance between both. So this is gonna be all for today. I'm gonna be speaking more often. I feel I need to, be heard. Listen to the opinions of my fellow ASPI friends. And know what they think about it. Thank you.